everybody. Thanks so much for joining today. I'm so excited to be here with one of a kind group. Thanks for having me. And I'm excited to do today's project. It's a little bit more detailed than what we've done in the past. And I did put a question out to see what we would do, and the dog and cat won, which always is the case. But next time I think I'll make some cards as well. So just keep watching and we'll do different projects. But today we're going to do the project of our A-frame. And you can do the dog is in charge, or you can do the cat is in charge. But they are reversible. So on the back of mine, I've got my winter and fall scene, and I put the other one in there. But they're reversible, so you could put the dog is in charge on one side and the cat is in charge on the other side if you wanted. And in the kit, you would have gotten this color and you would have gotten the white as well. So you can do whatever you want with it because you've got 4 surfaces there. And like I say, you see here, I've got the winter and the fall on the back of it. And these are from last year, so don't ask me if we have those because we don't. But you can put, you have 4 different sides, so you can do whatever you want. So we're just going to get to it because it is a long project. I am seeing your comments and I appreciate it. Hi, everybody. I'm going to have somebody watch the comments and answer for me as we go along. So I'm not going to be ignoring you, but we'll try and get those answers, all those questions answered. We've just got a big project. It doesn't take too long, but sometimes I talk. So we'll just get right started. So I'm kind of worked my way backwards on this one, just because when we get done, it's going to be wet, and I don't. It's going to be wet. So, and I don't want to show you the last step before it gets to be too late. So I'm going to kind of show you from the end, and then we'll go right into the project. All righty. So let me get this back over here. And then come over here. All righty. So when you get your A-frame, it's going to come with one of these already in there. And I don't remember which one. Sometimes it's the white, sometimes it's the brown one. But you're going to go ahead and take that off. So that is your first step anyway. So it's got a little screw to it. So you need a little Phillips head screwdriver. And then you can just get it, just to get it started. And then you can do the rest with your fingers. And you're just going to go ahead and take it apart there. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. And you don't want to lose these. So you get your little leather straps and then the little screw part. So we're just going to put, so see, this is the little screw parts. So we're just going to put that aside, put the little leather straps aside. And then you can put your A-frame aside. But, so that would be your first step no matter what we do. Let's get this back up here a little bit. Okay. So, and then when we get done with it, so boom, boom, done. We're done with it. Yay! Look how fast that was. You're going to do the same basic thing. You're going to take your leather straps. Now, once it's dry, now see, I wouldn't be able to do this when it's wet. So once it's dry, which really only takes, 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. And then you're just going to pop those things back in just like that. So this back one of the screws has a little hole in it, and then it would just pop. It would just pop right in there, and then you screw it. So that's how you put it back together. That's how you take it apart and put it back together. So you would do the same thing for over here, and then you've got your A-frame. All right. So we're just going to put that aside because I've already done mine on that one. And so I'm just going to do it on another white one. Now this is a little bit different of a board than what you've got. You've got the holes up here. So you just want to be mindful of that. Just make sure your holes are up top, and then everything else is going to be the same. I should do, let's just put my little board underneath here so when I make a mess, if I make a mess. We can have that. All right. You don't need to really do any kind of prep work to the surface, so don't worry about that. It is a chalk couture surface, so you don't really have to do any kind of prep work to it. If it was some other kind of surface, if it was like a raw wood or something like that, we do recommend waxing it first. And we've got a surface wax, but you can get surface wax at any hardware store. But you don't have to, just make sure you get clear one, but you don't have to when it's a chalk couture surface. But if it is another surface from, another department store, then you do want to wax it first. All right. So, and I went ahead, your transfer is going to come complete. Now I've already used mine, so I've cut those up. And when you look here, you'll have the lines here. Those are your cut lines. So you could go ahead and cut up your transfers and decide if you're going to do the dog or the cat. I'm going to do a dog because I have a dog. My mom and dad have a cat, so I did one for them. But I have a dog, so we're going to do a dog today. So you want to go ahead and cut it all up. And you have, this is your main piece here. And then you have your dog and your cat. There's a little dog and a little cat. You want to go ahead and cut those off or cut those apart. And then you have the words dog and the words cat, obviously, and then cut those out. So, and then you have the little bones and fish. And then this is more of a dog paw. This is more of a cat paw. But those are kind of interchangeable, and you can put those wherever you want. Now, I'm not going to use this part today, so I'm just going to put that aside, and I'm not going to use this part today. Now, these are really good sizes. These are really nice sizes, so you can do a lot with these. And if you have questions on like what to do with them or whatever, you can just ask me, but you can put them on tea towels. This one would be really cute on a little hand towel or whatever. So you can do all kinds of stuff, but we're not going to use this part and we're not going to use this part today. We are just going to use this main part here. There we go. There we go. And I'm just going to take this Ziba chalk off because it's really big. But if you want to get this kit, I still have some kits available. You can get it at my website, zibachalk.com. But this just kind of opens it up a little bit more. And I'll put that back out. And I'm going to do a dog. So I'm going to have the dog. And I'm going to have the word dog, and I'm going to put the cat aside. The process is going to be the same no matter what you do, whether it be cat or dog. All right. So we're going to put the dog cat in the same place, and we'll put the animal dog cat in the same place. All right. So everybody got, sorry for my arm. When you ordered, you get 2 colors of paste. And what you want to do is, if anybody's old enough to remember, you remember when we would make brownies and they'd come with the little syrup pack and you had to knead it first? Remember those days? They don't do that anymore. I haven't seen one of those in a long time. But well, and the mac and cheese as well. So you know the mac and cheese, we always had to knead it. So that's what you want to do. You just want to knead it a little bit just to get it nice and mixed and, you know, just get it nice and mixed. And then you just also want to have it's not going to be runny, but it will just help the texture of your packets. So you just want to knead those up and just really knead those, especially if it's been sitting for a while. You just want to knead them up. Now, I'm going to give you my little tip of the day, which I can't find my scissors, so there are my scissors. So when you do these are really designed, these little packets are really designed to be single-use packets. So you can get 1 or 2 of these projects done with it, and you can maybe get a little bit more out of it as well, but you're not going to get a ton. You're not going to get a ton of projects with this. So don't think, oh my gosh, I can do 40 of these with this. No, that's not what these are for. If you want to do a lot, you would get a jar. But you can get a couple uses out of these. So what my tip is when you're cutting this, just move it all towards the bottom, just like when you're doing the mac and cheese or the brownie syrup. I haven't had mac and cheese in 100 years either, so I don't know if it's still like that or not. But then you're going to cut the bottom. So you're just going to cut a little corner at the bottom, right? So the reason I'm not cutting it off the top is because I want to know what color this is. So when I cut it down at the bottom, I'm keeping the name of the color preserved. So I'm just going to cut just a little bit, just a little square right at the bottom, and that will be enough. And you do that with both packs. Now I have jars, so I'm going to use my jars. And the colors I'm going to use are black velvet and sage. We have a really pretty sage and then just this black, because my dog is solid black. She does not have a hair on her that's not black. And she is a little terror demon. That's what I call her. Her name's Cleopatra, and she's a little terror demon. She's at the kennel today, so hopefully she's having fun, but I had to put her at the kennel. All right, so, oh, wait, before I get started. All right, so you got your packs needed. You got them opened. I got to get my stuff together over here, sorry. Now, one other thing that you need, I didn't say this before, sorry, my bad. One other thing that you need is you're going to need like a terry cloth towel. Any towel will do. We have fancy dancy towels if you want to buy ours, but any towel will do. Just any kind of terry cloth towel, the dish rag, washcloth. I've used my shirt before. I've used my jeans before. Any kind of towel that has is cotton. Really, because what you're going to do, this is going to be really, really sticky. When you get this transfer off, it's going to be really, really sticky. And you have to you have to do what we call a fuzzing technique. So we're just going to peel this off, and mine's been used, so it's not as sticky as yours. But you're just going to peel it off, and then put it aside. And then this is your backer sheet. What you're going to do is flip it over immediately. And take a pen and just put dog, cat, or whatever you want to put on there. I didn't get the right kind of pen. I used a magic marker, but there we go. Dog, cat on there. Just that helps you know which side is the back. Don't use a magic marker because that doesn't stay. Just use an ink pen, but that tells you it tells you what the transfer is, and two, it reminds you which side is the back, because when we go and put it away, you're going to put it on the front like how I had it, just like that. All right, so, and if you put it's a little bit different of a texture feel. This is a very shiny side. If you put it on the back, it will stick to it, and it's not really good to do that. All right, so now I've got black magic marker all over my hands, so there we go. But go ahead and get your transfer off. Put it on your towel, your shirt, put it on whatever you think you need to do. And then you're just going to fuzz it a couple times. And by that, I'm just putting it down on my my dish towel and just fuzzing it. And what I'm doing is I'm getting a little bit of that stickiness off. So, and don't worry, that stickiness comes back, so don't worry. I really do have magic marker all over the place. So you're just going to fuzz it. And then once you think it's good, do it a couple more times. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to put it right on the surface. Right on the surface. And now yours has got the holes up top. Remember, your holes are at the top. And you'll just line it up however you want it. Oops. Just like that. All right. So this is what we call a layered transfer. So we're going to do this layer first, and then we're going to come in and do these layers. So don't worry about that. Now, see, my dog is going to go right there, and my word is going to go right there. So but you're going to do this layer first, right? And Everybody would have gotten a little squeegee. It looks just like this. What I like to do is air bubbles and crinkles are not your friend. So you don't want any air bubbles and you don't want any crinkles, right? So I always like to take my squeegee and just get any air bubbles right out of it and just squeegee that off. Just so you get any air bubbles out. Right now, mine's been used a couple times, so it was a little easier, but just get all your air bubbles out. You know, all I'm doing is just taking my squeegee like that. Now, this is your main base, right? So where you see white is where the color is going to come through. So you need to decide where you want what color you want to do this in. So I'm just going to bring this over here for a second so you can see. So I put the dog, or I put the layer that we're doing right now is the white part. And then the word and the animal were the black part. So see, that's how it is. So you want to decide what color you want this part here. That's the part we're doing right now. Where I have white, that's the part we're going to do now. All right. So I'm going to do that in Sage, and everybody got different colors. So you just pick what color you want. I'm going to do mine in Sage. Now, you also would have gotten a little tray, which I do not have right here, which is a little bummer, but I'm just going to kind of pretend that this is a white tray. You would have gotten a little white tray, and what you could do is take your paste and just squeeze a little bit of that white of your paste onto that white tray if you want, or you can just take your squeegee and squeegee some paste onto your squeegee. Squeeze some paste onto your squeegee. That's hard to say. So, but I always get a little bit more than what I need. So even though I'm in a jar, I'm just going to show you, I always get a little bit more than what I need because it's just easier to spread. It's just easier to spread that way, right? And you're just, well, this is where it gets hard because you can't put it back into the packet. So I have a jar, I can put it back into the jar, but you can't put it back into a packet. So you can just squeegee it right onto your, squeeze it right onto your squeegee and then just go from there. But I always get a little bit more than what I need, and then I just throw it on there. So I'm not doing anything fancy right at the beginning. I'm not doing anything fancy. All I'm doing is I'm going to spread the paste over the design, right? So it's silk screening is what it is. And I'm just going to spread it on there. I want to be careful not to go over my lines though. Or off my transfer. So I'm just going to spread it on there. Now you see I've already gotten another dip of paste, but it's just easier to spread that way. So don't worry about trying to do all these other steps. If you watched your TikTok video or whatever, where they say you're just going to scrape all this off. Don't worry about that. Just spread it on there. You don't want to get too much and you don't want to go too heavy because it could bleed. But it's a lot easier than a stencil because you're not going to get that bleeding up underneath the transfer. So just spread it on there nice and not nice and thick, but you know, just spread it on there like that. Now you can see I haven't done really anything fancy to it. Now I'm just going to take my squeegee. Now I've scraped off my squeegee, and you can scrape it off on your tray. Now this is when it makes a difference. You're going to take your squeegee, and you're going to have the fat part is up here and the thin part is down at the bottom. You're going to hold that perpendicular. So perpendicular is this way, right? You're going to hold that perpendicular to your transfer. Always go the same direction at this point. You noticed before I was just spreading it on there. Always go the same direction at this point, whether it's top to bottom, left to right, bottom to top, whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter, but always go the same direction. So now I'm just going to scrape that off. I'm holding it perpendicular and I'm just going to scrape it right off. And then you can scrape it off back into your tray or into the jar that you have. So always go your same direction, and remember that whatever you see at the top is what you're going to see underneath. So if you've got lines, like, I don't know if you can see them, like, let's just do this right here. So, you know, I've kind of got lines there that would show up still underneath. So you just want a nice smooth thing. And you can see the difference between when I started and now. So I've scraped all that off. So that's what I was saying there at the beginning was, you know, don't worry about trying to paint it on and scrape it at the same time. Just paint it on there and then scrape it off. Put your squeegee aside. And then what you want to do is start up at the top in your corners, and then you're just going to peel it off. Don't start, just, you know, get it started here, but don't pull it from the middle. You don't want to pull it from the middle because you're going to stretch it that way. So just work your way down and peel it off. Just like that. And it's going to be sticky. It's going to be holding on to it. It is going to hold on to it. So be careful. Try not to stretch your transfer. You don't want to do that. And then just slowly peel it off. And there you go. Look at that. See how easy that is? Now, I'm gonna go wash this. What you want to do, what you did not get, and I should have said before, what you did not get is a magic eraser. You want to go clean this with just water and magic eraser. If you don't have a magic eraser, you know, that's one of those Mr. Clean. If you don't have a magic eraser, a paper towel will do. But just go ahead and wash it right now. Don't just throw it aside and say, oh, I'll wash it later. No, go wash it now. So I'm going to go do that now. And then when you're drying it, you want to lay it on your towel and you want to lay it face up. I'm going to throw this aside. My hands are still wet, but I'm going to throw that aside. So I've cleaned it really well. Now, if you remember, this one was used before and it's got a little bit of staining. You don't want to dry it face down. You want to dry it face up. So the sticky part is face up, right? That's how you're going to dry it. And then you're just going to leave that to dry. And then we'll finish the rest of it. All right, so now what you're going to need to do, because you might, if you've never done chocolate tour before, you probably only have one squeegee. So now we're just going to wash our squeegee with water and a paper towel so that we have another one. So you can do that. You can use a wet nap to wipe it off with, whatever you need to do. All right, now this is still wet, all right? So don't go touching it because it's still wet. This is still wet. So I'm just going to take a heat gun, which I hope is plugged in, which is not plugged in. Hold on, I got to plug it in. I'm just going to take my heat gun just to dry it. If you want to let it dry naturally, you can. It would only take, you know, I would probably give it 30 minutes. It's not going to take that long to dry, but since we're doing some layers on it, I would wait a little bit longer. But I'm just going to use my heat gun to dry this. So my cord's not very long either, so sorry, I'm just going to be kind of off camera doing this because my cord's not very long compared to my outlet. And if you have any questions, just put them in the comments and we'll get you answered. If you've never seen this before, it's a fun way to do do-it-yourself decor. They're all silk screen transfers, and you can do anything with them. You can put them on wood, metal, glass, t-shirts. We've done t-shirts before in the classes. You can put it on anything. Now, there's a different process when you're putting it on t-shirts, which we won't go into right now, but we have paste and we have ink. But you can put it on anything, and you know, you can make it any color. We got all kinds of colors, everything. And they are reusable. So the reason why I went to go clean my transfer right away is because that helps keep the integrity of the transfer, and you can use it for longer. So the company line is 8 to 10 times, but if you take care of it, you can really get 10, 15 uses out of it. So you just want to take care of it. All right, so that's dry. Now, before I do this next step, I want to kind of point out here. So I've used this transfer before, and you can see that it's stained. Don't worry about this teal part being stained. That's not the part that we're worried about. What we're worried about is so don't try and scrub that off. You know, different colors are going to leave different stains. You know, black is black and red. This one was orange. So, you know, different colors are going to leave different stains. Don't worry about that. Don't try and get all that off. That's not the important part. The important part is the mesh part. So this is not a stencil. This is a mesh. So you can see right through it, you know. So when you're cleaning it, that's the part that really matters, is that you want to make sure that you're cleaning that part. So you'd clean the front and the back when you're doing it. And all you need to do with to clean it is just a magic eraser, one of those Mr. Clean magic erasers, and water. No soap, nothing else like that. Nothing else like that. So you want to clean it as soon as you do it. Alrighty, so I've got my dog and I got my dog. So now this is all dry, and this is going to stay on there until you take it off. If you want to take it off, you can. But this is going to stay on there. Oh, that part wasn't dry. Dagnabbit. You want to make sure all of it's dry. See, my cord's not long enough. Hold on. Don't touch it when it's not dry. But if you make a mistake, you can just wipe it right off and do it again. Don't worry about it. That's the beauty of it. But for right now, see, I touched it down here at the bottom, which I shouldn't have done, but that's okay. That's okay. So now it is dry. Now the rest of it is dry. So boom, just like that. And it's not going to come off until you take it off. You don't have to do anything to it. Well, let's get into this part first. So we're going to put the dog up here, and we're going to put the dog here. We got the dog and the dog. All right. So the words are going to go up at the top, and the animal is going to go at the bottom. So I can show you, and it's the same thing. See, it's very, very sticky. It's very, very sticky. So I'm just going to throw this on my jeans just to get some of that stickiness off. Not a big deal. And then you can put it on there. So you're just going to layer it up there. And you can see through the transfer, so you can see where it's going to go. So that's where my dog is going to go. And I would do the same thing with my cat. You know, if I didn't want my dog there, and I'm going to put my cat. I can put my cat there. I don't have a cat, but you can put your cat there, right? So it's going to go in the same spot. I'm going to get my dog there. And you could do your words up here, and you can do everything in all the same color if you want. It doesn't matter to me. It's your design. You can do whatever you want. I'm just going to do my dog in black because she's black. Now I can also do the words in black if I wanted to, and I'm going to do that. Or you could do it in the same color that you did the background, whatever you wanted to do. Now, if you put the words up there, you can see right now they overlap. So I don't want to do that yet. So I'm actually going to take this off right now. Oh, there we go. And I'm just going to do the dog real fast. So again, just fuzz it up a little bit, and you can just put it on your jeans if you want. You just want to get a little bit of that stickiness off, so it's easier to get off when you do it. All right, so I've got my puppy on there, and I'm going to take my squeegee. I'm going to get my other color ready. Again, I'm just using a jar, so it is a little bit easier for me. If you had that tray, when you're scraping things back, you can just scrape your squeegee back onto the tray and just wipe it off. The problem is you can't get it back into the envelope or into the packet, so that's why it's kind of a single-use packet. All right, so because he's a little bit smaller, I'm not going to get a big blob like I did before. I'm just going to get a little blob, and then I'm just going to throw it on there. I'm sorry, I just have to move it just to make it a little easier for me. So don't worry about trying to scrape and apply it at the same time. Apply it and then scrape it. Okay, so I've applied it, and now I'm just going to scrape it off. Same thing. Hold it perpendicular, and then just scrape it off. Just like that. And then you're just going to rip that off. And there you go. Now you got your little dog. All right, I'm going to go wash him real quick. You got to wash it. Wash as you go. Okay. And I'm just going to dry him face up, or the sticky part up. We're going to put him on the towel and dry him sticky part up. So there's my little puppy. There's my little puppy. Now I'm going to dry him as well, because the dog, as we saw, the dog part is going to overlap. So we are going to dry this as well. So give me a second. Let's dry it. Again, you could just let this air dry if you want. It's, it's no different. I'm using the heat gun just to make it go faster. And because I want to do all these layers, so it's just easier to do it that way. And I know every single one of you crafters have got a heat gun or a hair dryer or something. Well, I don't know about every single one of you, but I bet you have something. But you could just let it air dry in between. I would give it 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes, but it's really going to be dry in about 15 minutes. But you just want to give it a little bit longer when it air dries, just so you're not picking up any of that chalk. And sometimes when it's solid like that, it does take a little bit longer. I can't tell. Look, I got black, so I can't tell. All right. That's for my magic marker. Okay. All right. So now I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to put the word dog up there. You could put the word cat up there and have the dog picture. That would be kind of funny. And then you're just going to center it in your section up there. And you can kind of see. So this is kind of these little whatever they're called, little bullet points, whatever. Those are going to be, that's where you want to center. So you want to center your O if you're doing the dog, and you want to center where the A is for the cat. So I'm just going to put that right in there. And I'm just going to push it down so no air bubbles, no crinkles. Those are not your friend. But see, this overlaps the dog, and if that was still wet when I peeled it up, it would lift up the paste because it was still wet. But now that it's dry, it won't do that. All right. So then same exact thing. And again, this is really small, so you don't need a lot. You're just going to spread it on there. And what you're doing is you're pushing that color down through the mesh. And just make sure you don't go off off the teal part. And if it helps you, you can always just take washi tape or painter's tape or whatever, and just tape around it if it will help you not go off the sides. Because if you go off the sides, you go off the sides and it will show up there. All right, so now I'm just going to scrape that off. And there we go. And there it is. Now we all know that my dog is in charge. Okay, so I'm going to go clean this real quick, and then I'll bring back right back. And again, don't worry about cleaning. You know, you want to clean off the teal part again, but don't worry that it's going to stain. Just make sure your mesh part is the clean part, and you'll be able to tell that. Now you can add things to it if you want. If you wanted to do a little row of bones, you could do a little row of bones. You could do anything that you want, really, on there. Now, one thing you can do also, I know it says we just live here. You could leave off the we. You could leave that off, which is actually what I meant to do, but I kind of forgot. I forgot what I was doing. I don't want to do that. You could leave off the we, and then take your I from the live and just put it right over there if you wanted. So you can take the I and just put it over there if you wanted to do that. But you would do the same thing that we did before. So you would do the background. You would just leave off the we, so you can just not put paste on it, or you can just cover that up with washi tape or something. Just cover that up when you're doing the transfer. And then once you've cleaned your transfer, you can take the I part and put it right over there. Hopefully that makes sense. But you could just do the I part of the live, and then it would say I just live here. And it's kind of got that curve to it. So you can just put I just live here if you want. I would use that one because it's the same size and the same font as everything else. I wouldn't use this one up there. So hopefully that makes sense. So there it is. Isn't that cute? Isn't that cute? A fun, easy, quick project that you can do. And, you know, good for all ages. Now I'm going to put my aside. Now, once this dries in 10-15 minutes, then you would go in and put your leather straps back on. Again, and I'm just going to go ahead and do that right now because I don't want to lose these leather straps or the screws. So let's just finish that part. And like I said, these are reversible. We did have a catalog just drop on Thursday. So if you're looking for something to put on the other side, we have a lot of fun summer sayings. This is from last fall. So you can save it for Christmas. You can put the cat one on the other side. You can do whatever you want, or you can just leave it blank, whatever. But it's fun because you get the four sides with that one frame. So you really have a lot of flexibility with it. Hold on one second. Okay, so there you have it. All right, let me come back to me. All right, so there we go. So here's your A-frame. Just like that. Just like that. A very cute little frame. And it didn't take very long to do it. Quick and easy. That's what I love about Chalk Couture. Now, this is one of our transfers on a t-shirt. So like I said, you can do all kinds of things on that. If you have any questions, just post them there. If you want a kit, I still have some kits available. You can get it at my website, zibatchalk.com. You can get them there. It's under the class kits. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. And It's $40 and that includes shipping. And you will be able to see me. You can, hold on. Ah, okay. I do shows almost every weekend. So if you want to follow me on Facebook, you can find me at Ziba Chalk on Facebook. And we have a VIP group. If you want to join that, you can find the information there on the page on Facebook. And we could do other projects. But if you have any questions whatsoever, if you want to look and see what we have, you should be able to go to Ziba Chalk and find the link to the website there. And that's all I got. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining. I hope everybody had fun today, and I will see you later. Bye.